Carla Knits podcast. This is a podcast about knitting and crocheting and always all of the yarny goodness that I love. Today is Thursday, January 25th, and I'm coming to you from my home in Nebraska. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to share what I have been working on so far in this month of January. If you've been around a little while, you know that I have put out 3 videos this month specifically about my Make 9 plans for 2024, and I will include links for those down below. So those have all of my plans for this year, although I'm sure I'll get up to some other fun things as well. But other places you can find me, I am on Instagram and Ravelry as cbcraftygirl, and there is a Ravelry group for Carla Knits if you'd like to join in over there. Currently, we don't have any make-alongs going on, but we may in the future. But there is a chatter thread if you'd like to share what you are working on this year. That would be great. I guess let's go ahead and get started. So first finished object goes along with what I am wearing. So this is the Betangled Shawlette by Jennifer Weissman. This pattern was gifted to me by my friend Lois. Thank you, Lois, for my birthday. She also has the pattern. She also has completed her shawlette well before I did. I think I stated on one of my episodes, or maybe on one of the Make 9 videos, that I started this back in August. So this is one item that is on my Make 9 2024 whip board, and now I'm happy to say it is a finished object. I'm going to take it off to share it a little bit better. So it has this beautiful chunky cable all along, and then a tiny cable and some garter stitch areas. So hopefully it's definitely a good length for a shawlette. The yarn that I used is, let's see, Rowan felted tweed in the French mustard color. And I wasn't sure about this color, but I actually really like it. So that yarn is a DK weight yarn. This did take 3 skeins of that Rowan felted tweed. So the fun thing about this with these chunky cables is that where you cross for the cables, it creates just this tiniest little bit of space in your fabric. So when you go to wear this, you certainly can just leave the ends, dangling like that, or, and I'm doing this without a camera, so I don't know exactly how good this is going to be, or you can take one of your ends and tuck it through a cable on the other side, which is pretty darn cool. And then your shawlette is going to stay in place. It is tied and it is not going anywhere. So I think that is a really ingenious design. How am I doing? Okay, I'm just looking at my mirror over here. So I really think this is fun. This is a fun shawlette. I don't really have any excuse why it took me so long to make this, other than I just got busy and distracted with other projects. But I am really happy to have this done. I will say it is slightly itchy, and that's me. That was, a yarn choice, but it does have alpaca in it. So that Rowan felted tweed has merino wool, alpaca, and rayon. So I'm assuming it is that alpaca content in here that has a little bit of the itch factor. And I have a V-neck t-shirt on, so it is right against some bare skin and everything. So we'll see. This might just be, under my coat. I don't know. I really would like to just style it this way, just to wear it, kind of as an accessory piece too. So maybe I can build up some kind of tolerance to that alpaca. But I really really like it. I am so happy with how this shawlette turned out. I know I've shared before, I think this pattern was wonderfully written. I think it is one of the best written patterns that I have ever knit. So I really should check Jennifer's patterns to see what else she might have, because this was a pleasure to knit. So clear. So really a very, very good pattern. So I'm excited to have this finished object off of my whip board for 2024. Before we go on to some other finished objects that I have here, I'm going to insert a video. I had 2 finished objects that needed to be mailed off for a couple of occasions this month of January. So I'm going to insert that here, share those finished objects with you, and then I will be back. Hi guys, today is Monday, January 15th, and I wanted to hop on to record just a little video because I have 2 finished objects which are both going in the mail this week. So I wanted to share those finished projects with you. I'm excited that they are done and just wanted to share those with you, give you a little bit of details before they go in the mail today. So the first project is the 12 Days of Christmas miniske cowl. Oh gosh, I'm butchering that, aren't I, Darcy? So Darcy of Chit Chat Knits hosted in her Ravelry group a 12-day of Christmas mystery knit along, and it was for this beautiful cowl. So it went December 25th through January 5th, and the idea was that you used 12 10-gram minis. This is fingering weight. And then you needed a 50-gram skein for the in-between the mini skein portions. And so I just pulled from stash. So these are all leftovers of various kinds. I don't know all of the yarn dyers, but I know this is the Woolen Homestead. And I believe I made a pair of shorty socks out of this yarn before. This one was from an advent calendar a few years back. This is Up North Yarns in the Verdant colorway, and I made a second Kaisa tee in 2023 with this. This is by the Wayward Tint, that pretty blue. And this was a Christmas yarn several years back. It was a little set with a bag and a yarn, and the yarn was based on White Christmas, and it's I'll Wash My Hair with Snow. So the Haynes sisters. This purple color, ooh, don't know if I'm gonna remember the dyer. It may come to me, but I know I used this in my shawl that I made last January. It was a mystery knit along with the Cozy Up Knits. So that purple was in there. Oh, Fiber MacGyver. Yay, I did. This pink, I don't remember where this came from. This pretty light green with aquas and just speckled. This was from, is it Little Skein in the Big Wool a number of years back. And I believe I made, I know I made a shawl with it. I'm thinking either a Changing Staircases shawl or the Spindrift shawl with this yarn. This yarn is very special. This was pretty near to the beginning of when I started buying hand-dyed yarn. And this color, I think it is Monet's Garden, and it was by the Cyborgs Craft Room, who sadly passed away. So I've been hanging on to this, you know, a little bit of yarn from her, but I'm happy to have it in here. This, I don't remember the dyer, but it is a skein of yarn. I did make a pair, ooh, again, socks or shawl, I'm not sure, but it is a little house on the prairie themed yarn based on one of the book covers. Again, I did use that Verdant color from Up North Yarns. This blue here is by Teeny Button Studio. It was the Nutcracker colorway from her Nutcracker Advent a few years back. And then this final pink at the bottom is that also Teeny Button Studio? Maybe also Teeny Button Studio in the Cosmo Girl colorway, based on Legally Blonde, and I made a pair of socks in 2023. So you actually started at the bottom and then worked your way up, and Darcy does include decreases in her patterns so that it sits nicer. I will try it on for you. This would be a great one to wear under a winter coat. I'm not sure I would wear it as an accessory. Put this back on. Like an indoor accessory, just because I think I would get really, really heated with it. But it would be really cute, a cute pop of color under your winter coat. I just think that is so, so pretty. So I really love how this turned out. It is very snugly warm. It would be very nice under under a winter coat, and I certainly could have used it. We've had some very, very cold temperatures, as I'm sure many of you in our country have, especially if you are in the Midwest. This past weekend, we've been in the negatives, as low as -20. That was Sunday morning for the actual temperature. So definitely colder than, a colder winter than I remember. But this, I will say now who I made it for. This is going to be for my mom. Hi, Mom. I know you'll be watching the podcast after you've already been gifted this, but I made it for my mom, who has a January birthday, and I didn't want to say that when I first showed it on the last podcast, but I'm really happy, and I really hope that, Mom, that you like this. But very pretty. Darcy gave instructions that you could have that you had the option of stopping after 6 stripes also, so you could make your cowl a little shorter too. So there's definitely a couple of options. This is not a published pattern. This is in Darcy of Chit Knits Ravelry group, and I believe she still has it up if you'd like to check out her Ravelry group. This was such a fun knit. I absolutely loved knitting this, and I could see knitting this again as a fun Advent project. So this is the 12-day mystery cowl. I'll take that off. I gotta remove the glasses. Don't want to get anything stuck. My hair is gonna be a disaster, but that's okay. You guys will be okay with that. All right, so that project, and then I finished the baby blanket that was really close to being done when I podcast last. So this is the Warm Weather Blanket by Jess Coppom of Make and Do Crew. This is a crocheted blanket, and I will go through the different colors so you see. The silver gray section was the last section that I was on. So the original pattern calls for 6 different colors of yarn, but I had 4 what I thought coordinating skeins in my stash that I wanted to use together. So I don't recall what the original pattern says as to how many rows in each of those 6 sections, but I did 18 rows in each section, and that just about used up each skein of yarn. It was very, very close. So a chevron crochet blanket. This is a DK weight. I used Premier Basix DK yarn in the aqua colorway, white, powder blue, and the frost colorway. And this was to be for my youngest brother David and his wife Natalia, their 4th baby due later in January. Well, the little baby came yesterday on Sunday, January 14th. So I definitely need to get this off in the mail to him now. Well, them to use for their baby. So his name is Alexander James, and I believe they are going to call him AJ. So I'm very happy to have this snuggly blanket for him. It's already been washed and dried. The yarn washes and dries beautifully. So I think it'll be a really nice, easy care item for them to use. So back to the regular podcast. Thanks, guys. All right, hello again. I hope you enjoyed seeing those couple of finished objects. The cowl did reach my mom, and the baby blanket, I'm not sure that has been received yet by my brother's family down in Texas, but I was really happy to complete, you know, those two objects this month too. A couple of beautiful patterns. So hope you enjoyed seeing that. But back to present time here now. My next finished object to share with you is my Christmas Eve cast on from 2023, and it is a finished pair of DK weight socks. So I used the DK vanilla sock pattern by Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady, and the yarn I used is Freckled Whimsy DK in the Peppermint Mocha colorway, which is so appropriately named. This was really, really fun to knit on. The heel is a contrast from Bad Sheep yarn, and it's this cream with a little bit of speckling in there. So I almost think of that as like some marshmallows for your Peppermint Mocha, I guess, or cocoa. I guess you don't put marshmallows in coffee, but it could be for your cocoa. So I thought these were just a really, really fun pair of socks to knit up. I have admired this yarn for a long time. I did purchase it, I believe, towards the end of 2022. So I'm happy that I decided to use this for my Christmas Eve cast on. So a pair of socks there. Another finished item is off of my Make 9 board new projects, and that is the Wood Stack Mittens by Jane Richmond. And I am really, really happy to have these. I think they worked up so nice. The texture is so squishy and cozy. We had some very, very cold temperatures here in Nebraska this month. You know, there were some days it was down in the negatives. And now it's in the 30s. And next week we're supposed to hit 40s and 50s. So mittens might not be needed right now as much, but I am so happy to have these done. These worked up really fast. I can't remember exactly when I started them, but one of them was done almost in a day. I just had some extra knitting time and did that. So really like how they turned out. They fit very well. The yarn that I am using was left over from a sweater I made several years ago. The yarn is Quince & Co. Lark in the Malbec colorway. So I'm not exactly sure how it's showing on camera, but it's a really deep, deep burgundy color. And I absolutely love it. I have a gray winter coat, so I think it's going to go fantastic with that. The only modification was I made my cuff a little bit longer. I think they said 3 inches, and I did 4 inches. So that is a warm, warm, squishy pair of mittens. And I am very sure I would make this pair of mittens again. It was really fun to knit. The texture is really, really simple and pretty memorizable. So yeah, I can't say enough good things about these mittens. Just they look really big when they are off of my hand, but they fit my hands and are really nice and cozy. So a finished pair of mittens. And then I don't know if I have shared this on the podcast this year, but I've been sharing a little bit on Instagram. I am working on making dishcloths this year. So the Back Porch Fiber Company on Instagram is hosting a year-long Dishcloth Makeal. Yeah, she's hosting it, so you can use the hashtag to participate. I think it's bpfcdishclothmal 2024. I will make sure that I put it hopefully on the screen here. But I saw that and I thought, I'm jumping on board with this. She is using a couple of books where she is making washcloth or dishcloths from. And I decided I have so many scraps and leftovers of cotton yarn. I'm going to insert a picture of my cotton scrap yarn drawer here so you can see. It's quite a mess. It's a fun mess because there's lots of fun things to choose from in there. But I thought it would be really great to hop on with this make along, and it's crochet, it's knit, whatever dishcloth pattern you would like. And I just thought it would be fun to use up some scraps and make some scrappy dishcloths. So far I have made 6 this month and I will share them with you now. So the first 3 are using the pattern Diagonal Dishcloth by Ananda Judkins on, I was going to say Amazon. No, on Ravelry. Ananda Judkins on Ravelry. And I have crocheted this dishcloth pattern before. I really like crocheting it. I really like using it as a dishcloth. But this is going to be a silly picky thing. When it gets wet over time, it stretches out much more into a diamond shape. And so it won't fold into a square anymore in my drawer. So I have several that I just have to fold in half like that because they are so wonky looking. But so aside from the fact that they are not pleasing to me when I pull them out of my drawer anymore, my dishcloth drawer, I still really love how they feel when I'm washing dishes. So let's see, I know this yarn is probably like the Peaches and Cream or Lily's Sugar and Cream, 2 different colorways that I thought went pretty well together. Again, Lily Sugar and Cream, Peaches and Cream. This one, not quite the same. This is a little bit more coarse. This was a cotton that I had picked up at Dollar General. Yep, a couple years ago when I wanted a green cotton yarn for a specific dishcloth. So there is that one. And I am actually, even though these are crochet, I am just magic knotting them as I go by, which is a little challenging with bulky weight yarn, but that's what I'm doing. This one, very Christmassy feeling. I really enjoy that one. So this is a different green and it's got a little bit of red speckling in it. I thought that one was really fun. So those 3 are all the diagonal dishcloth. The next 3 are the corner to corner moss stitch dishcloth by Agate Rotman. This pattern was shared to me by a friend and a viewer. So a friend on Instagram, and I'm gonna blank. I know you're in Texas. Oh goodness, I'm so sorry. But she gifted this pattern to me on Ravelry for this dishcloth. So this is the first one that I made. These turned out just a little bit bigger than the other dishcloth. So a little bigger. I think I was just going to town and I probably could have stopped and measured sooner. I love this so much. At first, I was having a little bit of trouble getting started, wrapping my brain around what I was supposed to do, but once it clicked, it clicked. And I absolutely love this stitch. So this is linen stitch or moss stitch in crochet. Let's see, and there's this really cheery yellow and white one. And finally, this one is very scrappy. So purples and greens, and then I have some just a tip of a different color down there with purples and blues in it. But all three of those again are this corner to corner moss stitch dishcloth. This may be my new favorite dishcloth to crochet up. This is so much fun. So thank you for gifting this to me. You can see from my picture on my drawer, I have lots of cotton scraps to work through. So I think I probably will keep these for myself, but maybe I'll gift them to people. I guess, if there's some that don't look too terribly crazy, then I probably will gift them, but I can always use new dishcloths too in my drawer. So after doing that, the corner to corner dishcloth, I'm like, oh my goodness, that would be such a fun blanket, like using up yarn scraps. Oh, the temptation to start that is so strong. But if you've been here, if you saw my whip board, I have some blankets already that are whips. So I'm not going to start a new blanket, but that may be a future project somewhere down the road, because I just think that would be so super and fun, a very fun stitch. So let me know if you're a crocheter. Have you tried this dishcloth pattern, or have you tried this stitch? Yeah, I think it's really fun. So on to some works in progress. The first two I have to share with you are socks. One is living in this bag that I sewed myself a number of years ago. So it has the little spools of thread, the tops of spools on there, and it's got this cute little tape measure pull there. On the inside, it's got pink polka dot. Inside is a plain vanilla sock, and I am working this up as Jeff, my husband, his Christmas sock for 2024. Yes, it is so early to think about Christmas, but I am going to do it. I thought I was pretty organized last year. I really did. But I think my problem was I kept thinking of more things that I wanted to make to gift to people, and so I kept adding them in there. And so I was still working on things in the month of December. So if I can be even more on the ball this year and get some things cranked out even earlier, that would make me really happy. So this is just a vanilla sock pattern. So I do 2x2 knit 2 purl 2 ribbing for 20 rounds. Go into the leg. For Jeff, I usually do the leg to 6 inches. Then it will be the traditional heel flap and gusset. Down the leg, rounded toe. I think I use from Kay, the Crazy Sock Ladies patterns. This yarn, let's see, this is Lang Yarns Twin Socks, and color number is 315, and it's called Peru. So this is the Peru colorway. In the picture online, I had thought this was red. So it took me back a little bit when I saw that it's actually a very bright orange. But I think this is actually really fun. The more I look at this, the more I really love it with the orange. Jeff has a really nice fleece orange jacket or pullover, and I'm thinking, oh, these socks would be so cute with that. So some bigger areas of color blocking on here. This yarn has been really nice to work with. It definitely feels like it's a little more woolly yarn, but it's been a dream to work with. I had seen the Feather Stitches podcast, and one of the ladies on there had made this, using this sock yarn, a pair of socks for her husband. And when I saw that, I just thought it was beautiful. So I was really excited. So this came into my stash maybe fall. Well, I know it was late fall of 2023. So there is no pressure right now, I have to get these done right away. But this is just plain vanilla sock knitting. So this is just really easy to pick up when I need something mindless. And it seems like I've been a little more tired just getting back into the swing of things with starting up our semester and everything. So some nights, this is what I want. So that's my first sock whip. I have a second sock whip, and this is this the right bag? Yes, this is the right bag. So this is also a bag I made. So really sweet little knitting sheep on there. Do I need a bag this big for my socks? No, I don't. I just thought the bag was cute, and you know, thinking about Valentine's Day coming up, I thought, yeah, this is kind of an appropriate bag for that, even though these aren't Valentine's socks. But so the sock pattern I'm using is one off my Make 9 2024 sock board. I really enjoyed making those Make 9 videos, and you know, if you've been here a while, you know how much I enjoy knitting socks. And I knit a lot of plain vanilla socks, but there's mostly patterned socks on that Make 9 board, which I'm really excited about. The first one off the board that I chose is called the Planting Seed Socks, and they're by Brenda Pulzell. This is a pattern on Etsy. Brenda and her daughter Rachel have a podcast, Night Owl Fibers, and Rachel is the yarn dyer behind Night Owl Fiber. But Brenda has started designing patterns, and I saw them on her podcast. I was really excited, and so I have started the Planting Seeds sock, and it is such a fun, easy, memorizable texture. So excuse me, I just finished the slip stitch heel flap last night, so I think I just started this 2 nights ago, and this is really fun. The yarn, I should share what the yarn is. It is by Woolberry Fiber Co. It's one of her sock sets. It's an 80-20 blend, and the colorway is puffed sleeves. It's an Anne of Green Gable colorway. You know, Anne had a blue dress with puffed sleeves. But I'm hoping this year to make some more socks that are more tonal in nature. And I think this one fits the bill, even though there are some really subtle speckles in there. I am just so happy. So rather than having it, you know, so variegated or striped, the sock pattern is just shining with this subtle colorway. So Brenda, I absolutely love this sock pattern. I couldn't recommend it more. It's really fun. So I will link her shop down below under Planting Seed Socks. So it will be a direct link to take you to Etsy. I believe there's 3 sizes in the pattern. Even if you are an adventurous beginner sock knitter, if you've knit, you know, some vanilla socks and maybe want just a little bit more of a challenge, this would fit the bill. There's nothing hard, but the stitches it has create this beautiful texture. So 2 socks currently on the needles. Let's see, my last work in progress is for something on my whip board. So you remember Amelia the Duck and how she needs some clothing. So Amelia the Duck comes from this book, Knitted Animal Friends by Louise Crowther. And I chose, aren't those just the sweetest? I chose to make the duck. Let me see if I can find the duck page in here. Let's see. Okay, there is Amelia the Duck. So she was made, did I say 2022 or was it 2021? I don't know. It's been a while that she has been made. Her body has been made, and she's just been laying around wondering when Carla's going to get to putting some clothes on her. So, you know, this is the dress that they had suggested in the pattern, and I really do like it. It's kind of nautical, and I think that's really fun. But it does include some intarsia, which I am not super comfortable with. And at the small gauge, I was just having a real hard time around the sleeve area. And that really was my big hang up. So I thought, you know, rather than try to do that, why don't you pick another dress? Because I had bought more yarn, you know, thinking I would give her several outfits. So I visited her friend Piggy's page, and I am planning for the dress and the little cardigan sweater. So I am very happy to share that I have worked up the dress for Amelia the Duck. I'm not going to put it on her right now because I want the pieces to all be done. She needs her dress, she needs her cardigan, she needs a little pair of French knickers for her, you know, her underbottoms and everything. So I'm going to work on those and finish these in their, you know, to completion. But the dress was really fun to knit up. I used the called for yarn. It's the I don't know how you say it, Sheepy's Katona, which is a cotton yarn. And I actually did not have quite enough. It called for 60 grams of this color, and I only had 50 grams. Yes, that's right. I only had 50 grams. So I had not read the pattern closely enough. So the only thing I needed to do on the dress was this little bottom. That's where I ran out of yarn. So I actually just used actually the same yarn that I used on these socks. So it's going to be a blend just to do that little picot edging around the bottom. And I know when I block it, this is going to lay flatter. And there are buttonholes on the back, so there will be some buttons, but there's enough of an area where her tail should have some room to stick out one of the areas between the buttonholes. The color of this yarn, oh goodness, do I remember? Let me see. I'll get in my bag. I'm also holding this in a bag that I made a number of years ago. It's still kind of a Christmassy bag, but it's kind of more, I guess I think of it more as a wintry bag, like winter branches and little winter berries on there. So I guess I don't have a color name at the moment. It's probably showing up a little more orange on the screen. I know when I took a picture of it, it definitely was showing up more orangey, but it's actually a really bright, pretty coral colorway. And this pretty lace detail at the bottom. So this worked up over several days. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. This was very enjoyable. This was very enjoyable to knit up. So I figure I did make the right decision. So you can get an idea. We're doing good, Amelia. So those are the items that I have been working on. So I'm going to continue on with my, you know, my plans regarding my Make 9 boards. So over the next few weeks, I hope to get back to my Love Note sweater. That's one of my whips. Yeah, sweater whips that I would like to complete. It needs 2 sleeves. I did finish the body and did the ribbing, but it does need sleeves. And it's dark yarn. So I am finding when I'm working with dark yarn that it's definitely not as easy to work on it at night, or it's not as fun. It's much harder on the eyes. This was hard at nighttime, so I've mainly done this, you know, during a couple of afternoons with, you know, light, with it still being light, and I've had to put on little lighted glasses to help out with that. So I think that's probably one of my hang-ups about the Love Note sweater is it's dark, so working on it at night is going to be a little harder. But once I pick up the stitches for the underarms and just get it going, it's just going to be knitting for a while, so it's probably not as big of a deal as I'm making it. So definitely Love Note sweater. I want to continue the clothes for Amelia the Duck. So probably next is going to be the little pair of French knickers, and then the cardigan sweater, and then get those items blocked. So hopefully, yep, I'm not going to put any time frame on that. Those are the things I want to work on. Continue working on my socks. I do plan to have a short little video highlighting some Valentine makes, some really fun and quick patterns, and that should come out mid next week. Just sharing some Valentine things that I've been working on. So there are a few more finished objects that I'm not sharing today just because I want to do that special video. I just thought that would be really fun. And then I also would like at the start of February to talk about how am I doing with using yarn in my stash, and have I bought yarn since this year started. So I'm going to share how that is going on in a future video at the beginning of next month. So just a little chatter. This month has been busy and strange, you know, back to school, but we've had so many snow days or 2-hour delays that the routine we haven't really settled into a routine. You know, I thought this week was going to be like, okay, the first week where we're not going to have snow days and everything, but now people are getting sick. So there's people missing lessons, you know, due to illness. So, and I realize it's just that time of the year. So trying to settle back into my work routine. If you're new, I teach at our local college. I teach beginning group piano, and I teach private piano. And then I also teach at a local elementary school down the road that's with our church. And so I have 15 students down there. So I keep pretty busy with all of my music. But I also find plenty of time for all of my knitting and crocheting. In my last regular podcast episode, I had shared that a family member had been quite sick, and you know, so many of you offered up kind words, kind thoughts, prayers, and I really appreciate it. The situation has not changed much. We thought we may have had a certain diagnosis, but the treatment has not started working yet. So still, I would appreciate those thoughts and prayers for my family member. That would, yeah, just thank you all for that. So with that, I am going to stop for today. I hope that you are all doing well. How are you doing? If you're doing your Make 9 boards, are you having fun, you know, doing projects off of that? Or are you still working? I mean, are you working on whips from last year or a couple of years ago? Is there a new project that is really exciting to you? I would love to hear all about it. So please share in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this episode, I would greatly appreciate you giving it a thumbs up, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Thank you again so much for spending your time with me, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.